You know, sometimes a manufacturer brings out a new model of motorcycle that somehow disappoints everybody. It's not quite what we expected. It doesn't quite look the way we thought it would. Well, that was my opinion when Honda brought out their last CBR600. Remember that one, the one with the big vacuum cleaner pipes on the front? Didn't quite look right to me. It looked a bit bland, a bit boring, wasn't aggressive enough, wasn't quite sporty enough, although there's no question that it all worked perfectly well. Well, imagine my delight when I first clapped eyes on this, the brand new 2001 CBR600.
Honda haven't just improved the looks of the new CBR, they've actually now made it available in two versions. This is the CBR600F, and there's also a sportier looking version called the CBR600FS. It's certainly every bit as comfortable as previous models, but like all other middleweight sports bikes, it is slightly lacking in bottom end grunt. But hey, hit 6,500 revs and it really comes alive.
You know, I've always said that the single most important thing when you're choosing a new bike is, do you like what it looks like? It doesn't matter how good it's supposed to be. You can read all the test reports, it can be the best bike in the world. If you think it looks ugly, you ain't gonna buy it, simple as that. Well, I think the new CBR600 scores about 10 out of 10 in the looks department. It just looks fantastic to me. It's sleek, it's streamlined, it's aggressive now, it looks sporty. It definitely looks like a flying machine. The first thing you'll notice about the new CBR is the shape of it, different shape. The front end, for example, the most obvious part of any bike, it's different, isn't it? It's pointy now, look, we've got a big V shape there, twin headlamps, very, very aggressive styling. Certainly a bit of Kawasaki in there, there's a bit of Yamaha. In fact, there's a bit of lots of different sports bikes in there. And it all works very well, looks really nice and aggressive. Look at this now, we've got big air intakes here, no hoover pipes, big vacuum pipes we had sticking out there on the other model, which looked awful. But we've got these now. Big super duper air intakes. Front mudguard, that's different. It's bigger than before, it's more streamlined, it covers more of the bottom of the forks, more of the wheel itself, all to do with aerodynamics. And there's lots of subtle little changes in this that you'll never know, not unless you took the damn thing apart anyway. In here, the fork internals, they're different. They're now aluminium. They were steel before, so they're a bit lighter. And even details such as the calipers, the little Nissan calipers there, the pistons in them, they're now aluminium instead of steel. Again, all to do with saving weight and making the whole thing lighter. But going back to these big air intakes, what they'll do, they'll pull the air in through the tubes up here into the airbox, which you can't see, it's underneath the tank. It's a bigger airbox before, sucks more air in, because when you snap the throttle open on this, you need a big chunk of air to make it all work very well, because it's fuel injected and you've got instant power on tap with this. It really is very, very, well, immediate. That's the only word to describe it. The frame is different. Well, it's not different, it's the same frame, but it's differently done. A lot beefier up at the headstock, a lot of strengthening up there, and again, down at the bottom end, the rear mountings there, all beefed up a bit and all a lot stronger to cope with the extra power. The dashboard is very nice though. I want to show you this. Look at this for a nice little dashboard. Just move that choke cable out of the way, the clutch cable out of the way. When I switch it on, look at that. Hey, that's funky, isn't it? Analog rev counter. Digital speedo, which is brilliant. Every bike should have a digital speedo. You can see it at a glance. You imagine trying to glance down at these numbers here and read them accurately when you're travelling at speed. It's very difficult. This, dead easy. You can read it accurately to the exact mile an hour. And of course you've got all your warning lamps and things, a couple of little trip meters on it, a clock, low fuel warning, really everything you need. What it hasn't got this, because it's packed with technology and it's fuel injected, is it hasn't got a manual choke. The choke normally would live here on the left-hand grip there. You pull that on a cold morning, fire it up, and then usually you'd back it off, wouldn't you? So it's just about running, it's not racing away, so it doesn't upset the neighbours. Well, what happens on this, when you turn it on, automatic choke, cold morning, fires up perfectly. It's quite warm now, so we're only running at just almost 1,500 revs. Tick over would be about 1,000, but on a cold morning, that'll be up just over 2,000 revs, and you can't slow it down. Well, that's no problem, you might say. But if you like, I think a lot of people will put a race can on this. Probably the first thing people will buy for the new CBR will be a race can, makes lots of noise. You fire this up on a cold morning, over 2,000 revs, a lot of noise, you're not going to be very popular with the neighbours.
In the past, the CBR600 has always been praised for its all-round ability, and this new model is no exception. It's lighter than before, it's very flickable, it's quick to change direction, but it's equally at home, chugging along at 30 miles an hour in busy traffic. You don't have to thrash the pants off it to appreciate its quality. And being a new model, it's fitted with HISS, that's Honda's ignition security system, in which the key has a unique coding to help prevent theft. It does mean, however, that should you lose both of the supplied keys, you'll need to replace the whole ignition unit. Ouch. It's also got a smart water security system, which should help deter the odd dodgy character. On the road, the 600F is £6,800, and a further £400 or so will buy you the sport version.
So 2 new models now of CBR600 to choose from, the 600F and the 600F Sport. Which is it to be? Well, as I say, £400 and odd will get you the Sport version. So how much extra do you get for your money? Well, on the Sport model, for the extra cash, you will actually get an extra tooth on the rear sprocket. Fantastic, that'll come in really useful. You'll also get stronger valve springs, so it allows the engine to rev slightly higher. Why you need that, I really don't know. You'll also get a racing style seat unit on the Sport model, the step seat, the little pillion pad up here, actually looks quite nice. And you get a nice fancy red and black SP1 style paint job. What you don't get on the Sport model for your extra cash is you don't get a centre stand. This has got a centre stand, dead useful for adjusting your chain, lubing your chain and doing your sort of routine maintenance. Why you don't get one on the Sport, I really don't know, I can't answer that. If it was my money I was spending, I would stick with this. With its nice dual seat, nice comfy seats, even got a grab rail on the back. The Sport doesn't even have a grab rail. And I'd save myself a few quid and I'd spend that on a rear hugger, because it needs one to keep all the muck off the road, because that is the only thing this bike is short of. The rest of the machine is absolutely spot on.